Have you guys had any more discussion on if the agreements with NextEra will all be executed at different times, or if you're going to hold them, you know, like decommissioning is the one I'm thinking of in particular. Will they be able to use those heavy haul routes before you're done with the decommissioning stuff?
I think we're gonna try to get everything in place before anything.
Before, okay,
Yeah.
so that way you have your
We'll know more after
leverage.
today.
Okay.
We're trying to get it all in one time done, that way if, because one kind of ties into the
Yeah.
other, and, you know, and we don't want loose ends, or, I guess.
Yep, that was my concern. Have you gone through some of the decommissioning stuff? Like, do you have
Yes.
like a round number of what you think that looks like, or what it is per turbine, or?
We had an engineering firms that have given their
Advice.
advice on
Well, we need
them
to
as far
look
as
at
how
that
much
today.
it cost, and that's what we're been looking into.
Do you feel like it's completely unbiased? I know that they've worked with.
No. Well, they're unbiased people, but the, you know, and I think it's probably fair. I don't know. I mean, it's never enough.
Yeah.
Does it take into account, like, throughout the years of increase or anything like that?
I think there'll be a 5-year,
Every 5 years it'll be revisited.
we'll be revisiting it every 5 years, and they can, at that time.
And it's the cost that, like, if NextEra is out of the picture, what the county would end up having, you know, without any heavy equipment.
Well, we're getting the bonds, and and with the contracts we got, whoever is gonna own the wind farm is gonna be responsible.
But the decommissioning amount should be based on if you didn't have any of their resources, if the county was just left high and dry.
Yeah,
what would
that's
you
what the
have to
bonding is
pay
for.
What would the county have to pay for a big equipment or a cutter or whatever the different things are that you would need that the county doesn't already have? That was one of the things I saw that came up a lot in other counties that didn't, you know, the amount was based on what would the wind developer pay. Well, they've already got cranes and leases on different equipment where the county wouldn't. And
Well, they've got contractors that's got cranes. I don't suppose NextEra owns a crane.
We don't own cranes.
But they probably have
They're-
agreements.
They've got
They can
contractors
get them
that-
faster, cheaper,
They get
whatever
'em,
than
yeah.
you can.
Sure.
And
But,
then what about landfill? I mean, there's not a ton of landfills that are accepting those blades already, and as a ton of these come down, you know that price is just gonna shoot up. So that was the other thing that came to my mind was make
We've
sure-
had conversations on that.
Okay, and then it's all components, not just the turbines, it's like the buildings and roads and everything that they're doing is coming.
That's what these engineering firms
Okay.
took into consideration, that if we had to haul these to Utah or wherever.
Well, I'm just saying like
You know.
they're also putting up like operations and maintenance buildings and.
Transmission lines, everything else.
All those are included.
Included.
Yes.
And then
Yep.
the last thing I'll just put out there, which I know you heard me say this time and again, is just, I think it's really important if you guys would just consider having a few people from the community that you feel would provide good constructive feedback to review those agreements. I think, you know, they'll probably point out some things that nobody had thought of, or, you know, especially things that are unique to this county or whatever, a lot of the landowners and stuff in the area. And like I've said before, it could be people who have leases, some people who don't have a team work together, especially now that Corning isn't sort of making it, making NextEra work faster to get these things under construction. Now that that's lifted, maybe there's not as much pressure to be as quick with this. I don't know, that's just my thought. This is in no way trying to shut down the project. I think we're way, way beyond that, especially after the Corning deal. And so now it's just, is everything, all the I's dotted, T's crossed for the county to protect everybody for years to come. So that's all I've got.
Move to approve minutes as presented, Mr. Chairman.
And I would second that.
Moved and seconded to approve minutes as presented. Any further discussion about that? None, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Is the township contracts, is that something that's overseen by the county, or is that just pretty much between NextEra and the individual?
It's all part of the road agreement.
Does the, compensation that NextEra is, proposing to the townships, like, for instance, within Riley Township, I heard that there was a number that was thrown out as a yearly number that NextEra was gonna pay the township. Is that considered the, amount that NextEra is providing for the maintenance of the roads, or is that on top of and beyond the expected, maintenance by NextEra as well too, do you know? Like say for instance, Riley Township supposedly is getting $18,000 for 19 turbines. And I didn't know if that was what they were figuring, that that's gonna be the amount that they're expecting to have in place for them to maintain the roads and everything that are going to the turbines, or is that?
We haven't really
In addition to-
finalized none of that yet, and so what we're thinking about doing is per turbine basis, however many turbines is in that township, dividing the money up accordingly.
Okay.
And we won't know exactly how many turbines in every one of them until they get the holes dug and concrete started, you know, because they could use an alternate here and there, and if they do, that could mean one goes from, for instance, Riley Township to Newstell Township.
Right.
You know, I don't know where all the alternates are actually at, but,
Right.
So that money that you're allocating, is that the contribution money?
yeah, it'll be a contribution
Or is it
to
a
It's
help
an above.
maintain the road.
It's over and
It's over and
above.
above, and it will be paid to the county. And then we will split it out as a percentage to each of the
Or per turbine basis.
townships on a per turbine basis, or we've looked at the per mile, all the different ways, and it's just pretty difficult on the per mile
Right.
thing.
But I mean, you're still gonna have to take that into account either way
Yeah,
regardless.
I know.
Sure.
I mean,
But at least the turbine, is,
right.
Still is being negotiated,
Yeah, it's not-
essentially, and will be in the final documents.
but that will be a payment for, and that's something that we haven't found any other wind farm that has agreed to do this. So kudos to
As far as
NextEra for
Road use payments,
payments and over and above after they've left. And, and they're paying us this amount of money for the townships to maintain the roads that they are rocking now that wasn't rocked before. So we can kinda hopefully be able to help the county and the townships maintain that. We fought pretty hard for that, for the townships. That's what the townships officials asked us for, and that's what we went to bat for them.
So
Is-
they'll put the roads back, and then that money is in addition to that. That's just to maintain the ones that are newly rocked or whatever. Okay.
Ongoing.
And it'll go through the 30 years or whatever the contract is.
The roads will be usable when they're done. They're not gonna be tore up. They're supposed to be capped and ready to go, and then it'll be up to the townships to maintain as they so desire.
during construction, you mean, or
No, after construction is complete.
Both.
the townships are expected to maintain during construction?
No,
No,
Okay.
no.
Is there also in place, certain requirements or specifications as far as like, if they go in, say for instance, to a dirt road that they're gonna be using, are they going to be required to put down like a base layer, like 3-inch rock or something like that? Or is they just gonna throw 1.5 inches at it and never have a base, and then the township's expected to take that out of what they're paid.
That was part of the, we harped on the base for a long time.
Okay.
We worked
'Cause
on that.
That's something that
because-
probably definitely should be in there, because if they're expected to take out, you know, however much rock just to continually throw at it year after year, and it doesn't have a
Well,
good base to start with, then,
As your experience as well as ours, you know, you have a mile stretch of dirt road, there might be a half mile of it that's gonna be tough.
right.
The other half mile,
But
inch and a
there-
half probably fine.
But there can be.
But, yeah, them areas where they're having, and we've got this, we're gonna have a rolling deal, we've got, things to make sure the roads got a good base on them, and that we're comfortable with that.
The engineering firm will be on site every day, and there will be a base to start with. Will it be enough? Probably not, so you'll add more.
Well, it all depends on the year too. So,
Exactly.
but as long as there's, that
My
was just what I wanted to
comment-
make sure that there was some sort of.
My comment to them was, I don't wanna see you running a dozer up and down these roads pulling your semis.
Right.
They need to drive themselves,
Yep.
so that takes a pretty good road.
Yep.
Yeah. Cause the dozer on the roads is not gonna do it any good.
No.
You know, and number one, number two, you shouldn't run a dozer across the bridge, period,
That's true.
you know, so,
But even a big four-wheel drive tractor, whatever it takes, they need to pull themselves down that road.
yeah.
And
You
so
just get
know what
off.
kind of road we're gonna
You
do.
just
See,
get
and-
off and send the dozer across, then you run across and get back on.
I visited with, you know, which Dodge County, Ford County.
Here, you might put.
One of the larger,
Yeah.
wind farm companies or counties. And they talk about, you know, they hook a four-wheel drive tractor on the semis before they even pull in the roads, and they got ruts as deep as this table, and they said they really had, and that was one thing they harped on. It says road maintenance agreement is very, very important. And so,
Are you also limiting the road use agreement to just the surface of the road, or are you taking into account like tree maintenance and things like that along, going into this as well?
there's gonna be a little of both,
Okay.
right, Tim?
Because
Well, I mean,
that's gonna be another thing, you know, if they're expecting the townships to pay for
No, they're not.
cleaning up that type of stuff.
Next area is gonna be responsible to get their stuff in and get it out.
Wanted to
And
make
if
sure.
they've
that
gotta
was-
take trees out, if they've gotta, you know, do
you're talking
whatever.
about 20 years from now, per
Well,
se, whatever, if there's trees grow back.
More initial than anything, I guess, you
Yeah.
know, of making sure that, you know, cause like, you know, half the smaller roads, you know, and less traveled roads are, you know, half grown up with trees, you know, reaching out across and stuff. And just was curious if they were gonna be expected to have that fall on the townships as their burden, or if that was also in place as part of
Well,
the road.
if they once clean them up,
If we keep them clean.
somebody needs to
Right,
take
yeah, I
care
mean,
of
it's,
that.
it's a lot easier to keep
Yeah.
them maintained after that, but, you know.
I've had more of my calls have been towards, they're gonna do this road, that's great, we wanted that road rocked for years, and
Right.
As long
now
as
it's
they do
gonna
it
be
right,
done.
that would
Are
be
you
the
gonna
second
keep it
thing.
that way? You know, they're asking these things, which is good. You know, anything that's better for the people in the county, that's what we're gonna do, and mostly all of the counties that have had windmill companies have come out and they'll say, you know, it's better than it ever been, the roads. So let's hope that continues forward in Nemaha County, and I'm sure it will. With our agreements that we've got, I see no problem with that.
We're responsible for the right of way, of course, Greg, you
Right,
know that, and then, and/or the township, so anything outside that,
Right,
then,
is-
so,
becomes the-
but inside, on that right of way itself,
Right, but that's what I was referring to, was on the township or county portion of responsibility, so. But,
Well, we've got a program that, well, it ain't really a program, but I mean, with Nixie, that our spray trucks will go out there and we'll just, they don't charge anything except for the spray.
For all the
So I'm hoping the
townships.
townships in the next couple of years grab a hold of that, and I know their budgets are fairly tight, but you know, it may come to a certain thing where the county says, okay, we'll provide everything, though it's kind of an open question. I mean, they need some skin in the game too.
Yeah.
We just go out there and just do everything for them. But yeah, when I was on the township, we didn't have, they charged us the full rate to come spray the sides of the road. Well, we could do that cheaper ourselves. Now we're gonna go out there and help them, so it's coming along. We sprayed quite a few roadsides last year.
And that's an old time question, you know, is should Nemaha County go to county owned or county maintained roads throughout the county versus township? There's a lot of pros and cons both ways. You know, there's advantages both ways. I think we're in the best situation as long as we can maintain operators for the equipment, but that's getting harder and harder to do. You know, we've got another one, the township that called me and they said, you know, they can't please any of the people. They ride the people that are doing the work and they're quitting. They said, I ain't getting paid enough to take this kind of, then just
Life's too short.
take the grader up there and park it in their yard and.
I can probably guess that some of the townships that are getting calls from that.
But I mean, though, that's the thing you run into where if you had county-owned
Right.
equipment, and then the other thing is, you know, you got a lot of townships that when it comes time to buy a new road grader at $160,000 or $180,000, that's quite a bit of tax money for
Right.
a township to come up with. And, but if you take it on the county side, you know, you got another 15, 20 employees and that don't come cheap either.
Right.
You know, as far as tax money throughout the county,
And you're increasing the workload of what you've got already with them, so.
you know, but, I think the system that we have now is way the best as long as we can make it work. But, will it change? I don't know. There's, you know, you got Pot County and Brown County that are different. And, you know, they've changed and it's, Jackson County, it's, and they have issues of trying to keep people even on the county
Morning.
graders. And so do we. I think we've got one open yet, don't we?
Good morning.
Did you get it full?
I think you got that filled.
We've got
You got
that,
it, Bill?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Brad.
Good morning.
Good morning, Brad.
Waiting for Mr. Neal.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, says ready.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it's not even yet.
Is that, the
He'll
end
call.
usually comes over and,
Yeah, but it should light up,
It'll light up.
let me show you.
It'll hoover.
well, well, I did.
And that these things here light up when they
Well, they
transfer?
did, but I just heard a,
Okay. I'll ask. them.
There it is, comes an incoming call.
Okay, yeah,
So do we answer it now then?
I think so. Nope.
Not yet. Did you enjoy the game Saturday?
I did not watch the game.
I didn't watch it either. It's good.
Yeah, I would have liked
Yeah,
it.
that was him. He was there.
Morning.
Morning, gentlemen.
I
James.
did.
We're all here,
All right,
present and accounted for.
great. Well, if you have no other pressing business, let's move to executive session to work through outstanding items on the documents.
And
Say, how long
time,
do you want?
Let's go an hour.
Okay?
okay. Make a motion, we go into executive session with the attorney for 1 hour, 10:30.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Move and second, go into executive with our attorney for, discussing this wind farm agreement. Any further discussion on that? None, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Come back in at 10:30.
Okay.
And just be you guys and Brad and
Yes.
Mr. Neal. Got it.
I said we'd wait till you got here for any comments. Nothing out of the executive session outside of we're getting close to being done with the agreements. And I would assume all the agreements. I don't know how to approach. If we would happen to want to finalize everything and maybe have a special meeting Wednesday for, say, what would that all entail? I guess we just have to.
I think we
let the-
need to, I mean, we need to announce a special meeting, the time of it, and then I think it would be safe to say that we hope to sign all the agreements at that time, but there's no guarantee because there's still a few wrinkles that need to be ironed out. So if you want to set a special meeting for Wednesday at 9 o'clock, we could do that at this time.
I feel like we ought to set it and then that way everybody knows, at least it's out. And, then if we have to cancel it or even if we come in, we may have more questions.
Exactly. It may just
And
be
that
another
way,
work
then we can
session.
move it up for the next Monday, but,
Yeah.
or, but, that would be the,
It would be fair to say if we get all the wrinkles taken care of, we may be coming to a conclusion.
Yeah, to consider the final documents for signing.
Okay, any questions?
comments. Matt?
Has any construction started on the turbine sites? Or are they being laid out or anything?
No, they started on the late end, well, you could probably fill us in on that.
Yeah,
part,
there's
too.
been no construction of the turbine sites yet, and that would have to wait yet. We did start the laydown area, and we did that with the consent of the county and the highway department off of County Road O. And then there's a batch plant that is located south on Township Road N, and we got the consent through Riley Township for that. So we have been working closely with that, but there has not been significant amount of any type of activity in the field yet. And we're working on that too.
The engineering firm, one of you representatives have went around to all the townships, and most of them, I think, have done a ride around. I don't know if all of them are done, but just to see what kind of conditions the road are in now, and what's it gonna take to, somewhat what it's gonna take to get them in shape.
Yeah, the townships, they know their roads better than, most, so our folks are working with them and hopefully getting a better idea what we need to do to traverse those roads and work with them.
Do you need separate agreements with each of the townships?
No, it's gonna be all one.
No.
They will be listed separately as a signing, but, no, it's all under one agreement.
Are they all on board with signing, the ones that are in the area?
We're hoping to get them all on board.
If the agreements would be approved on Wednesday, how soon would construction start?
We would have to take a look at how we would want to phase that. There's several items in the agreements that would need to happen before we start. There's checks that need to be issued, there's bonds that have to be put in place, there is, I'm just trying to go through the litany of items that is in the agreements that I know that we have to have in place before we start. And so just because you approve them means that we have to go to work and get all the things that bind the agreements in place before we start. And that's pretty lengthy from what I recall, so we're gonna have to be working very closly with the county and all the different departments that are named in the agreements to move forward, so. We're anxious to get started, as everyone knows. We've got teams that are mobilizing. You're seeing more folks coming in town with Blattner trucks right now. Obviously, the laydown site's gonna get busier with folks and trailers and things like that. We do have an office in Seneca right now that we're using, and you'll see more traffic in that office also, so things are moving forward. But we need to be working closely with everybody.
Who's the Blattner, chief, so to speak?
Yeah,
What's his name?
DJ Gleason?
No, Eric Hardy.
Or, I'm sorry, yeah.
TJ is with Next Era.
Next year.
Yeah, who's the
Eric-
Blattner?
Eric Hardy,
Eric?
yes.
I just forgot his name. We had that meeting here a week or so ago and he was there. I was very impressed with some of his comments.
Yeah.
One of them being speed limits. One of them being wanting to know bus routes. Anybody that has kids, because that speed limit drastically changed in front of their house.
Yes.
And he wants to make damn sure everybody knows what those speed limits are, because he wants to know if they're breaking that. You know, you can guesstimate naturally, but what he told us that day is 10 mile an hour in front of anybody's house has kids. They want to know where these people are at, because 10 mile an hour is pretty slow when you're driving in front of.
And they put up signs as well. At the start of each, in front of people's houses, and then at the end, that say that it's 10 mile an hour at that point.
I don't know if
So
you,
everybody knows.
I don't know if you've been introduced to one of our other Next Era construction teams, Peter?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. If you want to introduce yourself?
Peter Gorney, I'm with Next Era Engineering and Construction.
You were at that meeting that day.
I was, yeah.
Yeah, I was impressed.
Eric seems like he's gonna be a great leader.
He said he wanted to know. Somebody he thought was going faster than that, I want to know about it.
Yeah, we're happy with Blattner, and we use Blattner on quite a few of our projects, and they're very responsive to the need. We also have we'll be getting a phone number, project phone number that anybody can call if there's a complaint or a concern or a compliment. I'm not sure if those will come in or not, but we'll give that number out so it'll be well published within the community. So if you do have an issue, make that phone call. It's a answering service, so that will relay the message to the party. So
And that will be forthcoming.
it'll be likely today or tomorrow. We'll have that number in place.
Very good.
I was hopeful to have it today,
Okay.
and there was the number. They hadn't got the number yet, but I'll have it for you guys by Wednesday. I think that's an important thing for everybody in the community to know. And we will be updating our project list also.
So his number on here wouldn't be right,
No, we've added more team members since that was published, so we'll.
but Eric's number is on here.
Yeah, that's the right number on there.
Okay.
Yeah, he's on there, but I know we've added more people to the team. so
Right, okay,
we
we just need an
to update that,
updated,
yeah.
okay.
So we'll continue to update those lists and then also put the project contact number for anybody that wants to call. I'll include it in that list and get that published to you guys. That's very helpful, I think, for everybody.
Anything else, Brad?
I don't think so.
So Wednesday's special meeting will be to continue work on the agreements.
Yes, and if I mean, it's possible we may sign some
Right.
agreements that day if they
That's the only
work
thing
out.
you're gonna look at that day.
Oh, and I guess we could look at our vouchers that day if we wanted to, couldn't we? Or is that getting too late?
Or are they only supposed to do what it was really called for?
You could call it for that as well. You could call it for consideration of vouchers as well.
It's up to you guys.
I'm fine with,
Wouldn't hurt to get it done, they're gonna
I'm
go
fine
out
with Wednesday
Friday.
or Monday, it'll make any
Yeah,
difference.
it doesn't matter to me.
Next Monday too, I mean,
It'd be simpler if you just considered the one.
yeah, that's fine.
I would rather, like,
Okay,
have if time to
Yeah, because we don't know how much time.
devote it to the
Yeah, that's true.
contract and stay with that.
okay, that's fine.
Sounds good.
Any other questions?
What time Wednesday?
9.
That'll be open to the public, or is that gonna have executive
Oh, yeah, no, it'll be,
session time?
oh, I'm not gonna say, it's probably a I'm gonna assume
I imagine it'll start with an executive session.
probably to make
We
sure
will need
that
an
we're all.
update from Mr. Neal, yeah.
Yeah,
Probably by phone, or will Neil be?
no, he should be here in
He's
person.
fine.
He had a conflict today, but, of course, the phone works great too, but I like to see him in person. And that day he will be.
Unless there's
Yeah, he gets
a
conflict.
snag and then, but,
Weather or whatever.
well, no, the negotiations. But, cause we give him 4 or 5 things that we thought needed to be changed and we're still work in process.
Did you give any more consideration to having a group look over the contracts before you'd sign them, or is that pretty much a no-go?
It's my opinion, we went through all this with open meetings, we had 2 of those, and the term sheet, they've dissected that pretty well, the public has, and so we're just taking all the information we got and we're moving forward. I feel comfortable where we're at, so my answer is no. I don't know about you guys.
And I'm fine with, you know, we've received a lot of good information, you know, and where some was brought up here as late as this morning, and we double checked those concerns, and are all the i's dotted? Never, you know. But as many of you know, you get in this situation, it's not gonna ever be perfect for everybody in the room, but it's, we feel like we've got enough competent people that's looking at this thing, and we're getting people to look it over and take care of it. And
By people, you mean your attorney and?
Mr. Neal also has a team of attorneys in his office, so they're also reviewing this, I'm reviewing it, these 3 gentlemen review it.
And next Thursday.
Right, but you were also the ones that had reviewed the term sheet.
But that was a
and
term
there-
sheet.
Right, but I mean, I'm just saying that there was mistakes that were in the term sheet that other people caught outside of that.
And that's what that was for.
Right.
Don't you
Yeah.
feel like the term sheet was,
I-
we opened that up for everybody to look
Yes,
at? So
and
now.
we appreciate that, but I mean, what I'm getting at is if you're not allowing that process to be taken as well with the road use agreement, I mean, what's
That's all part of the term sheet.
Right, but I mean, that's still a portion of it. If we don't have public input directly from that contract, then don't you feel that there's possible things that have been, I mean, I know how it is when you start staring at the same thing and you have one little thing change here and there, all of a sudden everything starts blurring together. And if you have somebody from the outside public, that's why Cindy was making the suggestion of if you could have, and it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be any of the people sitting here, just somebody to have a fresh look at it and see and give you some input. I mean, that always makes me feel better anytime I've got any kind of a contract that I've got. So that's just my input and a suggestion from the outside looking in. Because I mean, like you said, even though it's something that, yeah, you're not gonna get all you're not gonna make everyone happy on any agreement, but I think you should sure as hell make damn sure that you've got all your i's and t's crossed in any agreement. I mean, that's the way I feel when I put my name on anything.
And we do, we are in that
Right.
boat right now as commissioners. We feel
And-
comfortable with what we're doing and we're telling you so
Okay.
right now.
All right, appreciate that.
There you go. So, any other questions? None, we're gonna move on.
All right.
You got anything for Brad today?
I don't know. I don't think anything came up.
Since last Friday.
This morning, yeah, since Friday.
Yeah.
I don't believe.
I can't think of anything.
I didn't have anything wrote down for Brad.
I don't think I have anything.
Okay.
Oh, but the only thing, looking for a laptop. Do we still have that Dell government representative? We've worked with
Yeah,
in the past.
it's probably, I'm guessing it's probably changed since then.
Let me check, I think the appraisers just.
Yes,
were
that's what
shopping
I was
for
gonna
laptops.
say.
Let me
Check
talk
with
to
her.
them and I'll
Yeah.
see what, yeah.
They did.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right, you bet, thank you.
See you Wednesday.
And just to refresh your memory, I do have a 10 o'clock hearing that morning,
Okay,
so I will have to step out at that
that's
time.
fine.
That's
Okay.
fine. I just can't.
Well, hopefully that James won't need only 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Okay.
Yep, all right, thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
So is there any reason you're gonna have a special meeting, not just wait until next Monday to sign the agreements?
Part of,
What's that supposed to mean, Frank?
that
Or
is
being pressured to do it sooner than?
There's
No,
nobody
man.
pressuring us to do anything.
outside of the fact we wanna get, the ball's moving and we got things going and we wanna get it
I
done.
could wait till the next regular meeting.
What's the
We
difference?
decided to have a special meeting come Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And there's no
You know,
outside
I mean,
pressures
it's-
involved.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
we're trying to hide anything.
Nope.
Thank you.